Hi people, I've just made a video which is still uploading at the moment, and it's here on the upload. Brexit deal or no deal equals the siege against economy, rights and welfare. And this is really, really serious, and underneath I've not actually shown all the links in the video, but I have actually referred to them, and I do advise people to please scroll through the links under this video and check the facts for yourself, because we are talking now. This is serious. I mean, this is an attack. This is an attack against our rights, our environment, our jobs, our economy, our food, our medicines, our NHS, everything, in fact, that men like my grandfather gave their lives for, okay, for a Britain that operated fairly and squarely. You know, no longer were we going to be living in the days of Victorian Britain, where workers could be used and thrown away at will, where there was no healthcare, where there were no human rights. This is really serious, and we have been told a pack of lies. And I have got empathy with the people who voted Brexit, firmly believing that, oh yes, we were going to be able to do free to do trade with other countries. That's not going to happen. You know, no one's interested. This is the fact. Okay, we are going to be totally under the thumb of America. We're going to be made dependent on America. Remember, America, a nation that issues sanctions against countries that vote for leaders and the American president doesn't like. Look what's happened to Venezuela. Why? Because they wanted to live like the people of Norway, the people of Denmark, the people of France, the people of Britain, still with an NHS and a free education system. Okay? Because Venezuelans have voted for that. They're suffering sanctions from America. What are we going to do? I mean, like I say, I'm not enamoured of the EU. I believe our entrance into it was illegal from the start, but unfortunately, we are leaving in a lot worse position than we were when we went in, because we're not an independent nation anymore. We don't produce our own clothes, our own shoes, our own food. We just don't. We're dependent on imports. And now they've made us dependent on those imports, mostly through the EU. Now they're pulling us out of the EU. To do what? To be dependent on Trump. This is absolutely outrageous, and they are asking. America is demanding total control of our NHS to be handed over to corporate health insurance, American health insurance companies, in return for a food deal that demands that we remove all the health and safety regulations on our food. You know, as I say, all the links, everything that I'm saying is shared here, okay? It is shared here. And I will leave this video that's uploading under this video as well. But this one is specifically to focus on these Brexit lies, and this is why so many people who voted to leave, on realising that they were lied to, on facing the facts, the reality of life outside of the EU, have changed their minds, and quite rightly so, because their parents, because they have family who are dependent on NHS medicines, because they're worried about their jobs, because they're worried about the economy. And still, every corporation is free to bring in as many immigrants as they like. The government set legislation up. There's global corporate solicitor law firms already established in Britain, ready to do all the legal necessities for any corporation to bring in as many immigrants as they like from abroad to do jobs in Britain. These are facts. These are facts. You know, and we're not talking about impoverished immigrants, you know, illegally getting through the channel. Okay, we're talking about professional people. We're talking about even corporate military and corporate police coming from abroad, I tell you, we're wide open. This is an attack. This is war against the British people, performed by the shenanigans of our own parliament. It's like him. He supports Brexit. All of these people support Brexit. Didn't I warn everybody right from the start they were playing devil's advocate? Of course they don't support Brexit. They're a set of liars. They just duped the British people into basically voting sanctions for ourselves, voting so we can live on rations, voting so that we can suffer our wages slashed in half by the rapidly falling pound. Because I tell you, a hard Brexit, the pound's going to plummet. It's already falling against the EU, against the euro. I mean, you know, the whole point of Britain not joining the euro was because we wanted to keep our own currency, and the pound was strong. It was strong against the dollar. It was strong against the euro. Now it's weak. It's dropping. It's plummeted. When the pound drops in half, that's your wages slashed in half, Britain. Understand what they're doing to you. Understand it. These pack of liars belong in jail because the madness and mayhem. Why do you think they've got troops on standby for a hard Brexit? This is serious. Is this what Britain voted for? Is that what we voted for? This is what we need to understand. No, they lied to us. They all lied to us. Look at him. He's advised clients to move money out of the UK into the EU. John Redwood, big Brexiteer, advising his clients to move their money out of the UK to the EU. Why? Why was he advising British people then to move out of the EU? But when it comes to his clients, he's telling them to move their money into the EU. This little shit, Lord Lawson, has become a permanent French resident. Oh, that's nice for him, isn't it? Can we become permanent French residents? This evil little oink, that's what he is. I absolutely loathe the man. And a smarmy, he is a slimy piece of shit, right? Jacob Rees-Mogg, big Brexiteer, setting up shop in Dublin to stay in the single market, right? This Lord Ashcroft, another slimy piece of filth, told British CEOs to move to Malta to stay in the EU. Okay, look, him, Sir John Ratcliffe, moving business and his billions to Monaco. And, you know, the list is endless. We've got Nigel Farage, the very next day after Brexit vote, is there at the German embassy voting for, hoping to get German citizenship because he's married to a German, for him and his family. These people are evil. They are evil. And they will rob us. They will rob us now. They will rob us of our rights. They will rob us of everything. And say, well, you voted for it. You shouldn't have believed our lies. Look, 350 million. Now I'm going to show you something. Try clicking on any of these links. Look, blocked. Here we go. Blocked. 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 Look, every single link. Blocked. 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 Why? Why are they all blocked? Who has blocked them? Why? Why are they blocked? I tell you, what's been done to us is treason. Because, you know, like I say, all right, you might not... A politician may legally be allowed to lie when it comes to stuff about their party and their policies. Okay? But not when it comes to something as serious that's going to affect everything in our society, our jobs, our food, our medicines, our healthcare, our environment, our human rights, our workers' rights. This is dangerous. It's dangerous, people. And that is why, look, there was 700,000 last year marched through central London, pro-EU. Just this last weekend, over 1 million marching. The website asking for a second referendum crashed after 5 million people were trying to sign that petition. And still they say no. We can have a vote to choose the deal or no deal. Well, no, we don't want a vote to choose the deal or no deal. We want a second referendum because we were lied to. We were scaremongered. A corporate global social engineering corporation was employed by these rats, ultra wealthy Brexit-Rats, abandoning the sinking ship that they helped to sabotage. These people hate us. They hate our rights. They hate environmental protection laws. They hate the British people. They hate us. We're stock. Everybody should know that by now, that they hate us. Sovereignties for central London, the London city. That's all they were bothered about, is keeping London finance independent state within the state. That just isn't allowed, okay, as part of the EU. Because London has to join the EU with us, just like Scotland, who voted to stay in the EU, okay. Oh, but because they're part of Britain, yeah, sorry Scotland, you've got to leave as well. You see, and it works the same way for London City. You see, London City, yeah, sorry London City, because the whole of Britain's voted to stay in the EU. That means you've got to stay in the EU as well, Central London. That means that you are not going to be able to get away with your shenanigans and your crimes, your financial crimes that you've been getting away with for decades, because you're going to have to be part of Britain and part of the EU. That is what this is about. Understand it, people. Understand it. So what is the answer? Well, we've signed the petitions. We've been out on our 1 million strong marches, or 700,000 strong marches. Now is the time to do an Iceland. It is going to take every person in every community. You're going to have to get out on your streets. You're going to have to get your pots, your pans and your pan lids. You're going to have to make a noise. I'm not preaching violence. We don't want no violence. And anybody who uses that to commit acts of damage and violence against property or people, those people are agent provocateurs. Remember that, people. Surround them, seize them. Do not let them destroy our peaceful movement and our right to protest with their violence. Okay, they've already done it in France. They've used agent provocateurs to damage the reputations of the Yellow Vest movement that are generally a peaceful movement, and they've already used agent provocateurs because that's what they do, okay. But we need to come out in force in every town, every city. We need to come out, bang your pan lids and your pans, and we want this government out. We want another referendum. We want to revoke this whole Brexit crap, okay, and put it on the shelf and focus on rebuilding our economy, rebuilding our industries, so we are an independent nation, so we can leave the EU and not have to go to America to sell our NHS off in order to get their substandard poisonous food. And this is what we need to do. And I speak as somebody, you know, I have witnessed from childhood. I was moving into the EU. I saw the devastation on our economy as we turned over to the euro, and the amount of money that people lost. It was, and the prices, the rise of prices. I tell you, it's going to be 10 times worse. 10 times worse when we leave. And, you know, so I'm under this video, I'm going to leave the video I'm uploading now. I'm going to leave this link. This link is also under that video. But I really felt that, look, this needs to be thoroughly exposed. This is the filth we're dealing with. When I explained to people that the Tories played devil's advocate, I wasn't lying. I am right. I am right. I am not scaremongering now. This isn't scaremongering. Explaining to people that, look, do you know when you step off the edge of a cliff, there's no going back. We're at the precipice. It's time to do a turnaround and have a rethink and think about it. Like I say, you want to leave the EU, Britain? Good, that's okay. Make sure that you're capable of standing on your own 2 feet. Make sure that you have a contingency plan for when you leave. That these set of wasters, because that's what they are, they're waste men, wasters. They're all wasters. And liars. Filthy, disgusting, elitist pigs is what they are. So, you know, and like I say, yeah, I'm sorry, Brexiteers who you think you were voting for sovereignty, by now it is perfectly clear that this has got nothing to do with sovereignty. Okay? We had more sovereignty in the EU than we're going to have without it. Because don't talk to me about sovereignty when I've got no human rights. Okay? Do not talk to me about sovereignty when I have got no human rights in my own country. And I'm dependent on America for poisoned food. For food that's banned in the EU. Okay? And in order for my health service that was established by my grandparents who suffered through 2 world wars, so that it can be earning profits for American health insurance corporations, a nation that can't even provide healthcare for 20 odd million of its own people are left with no healthcare. No, we need to wake up fast, because they're going to rush this through. And this was never about Brexit. It was always about them having it their way, having their cake and eat it. That, oh yeah, we'll have the deal. You can be part of the EU. We'll have the trade things going through. But at the end of the day, yeah, all right, you can scrap human rights if you want. You can scrap workers' rights. You can scrap environmental protection laws. You can scrap all the food, health and safety stuff. Okay, that is what this is all about. And now they're holding us up against a wall, saying, well, you know, it's going to be a hard Brexit, it's going to be really horrible, exactly as horrible as I've explained, or you can have our deal and just lose all your rights. You'll still have food, but you'll lose all your rights. We'll do whatever we like to the environment. You will eat Monsanto-laden veg. Seriously, people, seriously, we cannot let this happen. If we care about the future, we care about our children, we will not let this happen. Sense and sanity will prevail. We will stand up on our own 2 feet. And yes, if you want to leave the EU, then get prepared. Prepare to do it. Nobody just walks out of a home to go and live on the streets. Unless you've got a gun pointed at your head. In that home. Have we got a gun pointed at our head in our home? No, we're being asked to leave our homes so that we can have a gun pointed at our head, so we can be under rule and dictate of America. So, and like I say, look at Venezuela, people. America doesn't like the socio-capitalist government the Venezuelan people have voted for, and look what they're doing to them. Is that going to be us tomorrow? Do not think for one moment that it won't be.